She chokes 10 of my family members to death one by one. My name is Eva. I'm 66 years old and I live in Winterveld, a small community not far from Mabapan, outside of Chwane. I'm telling you this story because I don't know where else to turn. The police think we're crazy. The doctors say it's all just coincidence, natural causes. But I know deep down in my bones that we're dealing with something evil, something that's been systematically destroying my family for over 2 decades. It started innocently enough back in 2002. My niece Agnes was the first. She was a vibrant woman, full of life, only 39 years old. She went to bed one night, perfectly healthy. The next morning, she was gone. Her sister Julia found her. She said there was a strange white foam coming from Agnes's mouth. We were all devastated, of course, but we just assumed it was some kind of freak medical event. An aneurysm, maybe, or a hidden heart condition. Then, a few months later, Julia's son, Mupo, died in the exact same way. He was only 25, a strong, athletic young man. Julia said she heard a strange choking sound coming from his room in the middle of the night. She rushed in, but it was too late. He was lying there, lifeless, with that same horrifying white foam. That's when the whispers started. People in the community began to talk about a Tokoloshe, a mischievous, sometimes malevolent goblin-like creature from African folklore. A creature that could be sent by someone with evil intentions to cause harm and death. I dismissed it at first. I'm a Christian woman. I believe in God, not in these old superstitions. But as more and more members of my family started dying, I couldn't ignore the possibility any longer. In 2004, my cousin, Trifina, died. She was only 26, a beautiful young woman with her whole life ahead of her. Then, in the years that followed, my uncle Dixon passed away. He was a strong, hard-working man, just 41 years old. After that, it was Thompson, another cousin, 46 years old. Each one found dead in their sleep, with that same inexplicable white foam. By this point, fear had become a constant companion. Every night we'd lie awake in our beds, listening for any unusual sound, any sign that the Tokoloshe was coming for us. We started sleeping with the lights on, hoping to ward off the evil spirit. We sprinkled salt around our beds, believing it would create a protective barrier. We even tried elevating our beds with bricks, because we'd heard that Tokoloshes were small and couldn't reach you if you were too high off the ground. But nothing seemed to work. The deaths continued, relentless and horrifying. We consulted numerous sangomas, African traditional healers, hoping they could help us break the curse. We spent almost all of our savings on their rituals and potions and charms. Some of them claimed they could sense the presence of the Tokoloshe, describing it as a small, hairy creature with glowing red eyes and sharp claws. They said it was sent by someone who held a grudge against our family, someone who practiced powerful witchcraft. But even the most skilled sangoma couldn't stop the deaths. They could only offer temporary relief, a brief respite from the terror. My aunt, Alina, died next. She was 80 years old, but still relatively healthy and active for her age. Then, my other uncle, Million, passed away at the age of 82. They were both elderly, yes, but they didn't deserve to die in such a terrifying and inexplicable way. Then, my own brother Samuel died. He was 58 years old, a kind and gentle man who was loved by everyone in the community. And then, just a few years later, my cousin Mandla was taken from us. He was only 30 years old, a young father with a bright future. It was like a nightmare, unfolding in slow motion, consuming our family one by one. Each death brought with it a fresh wave of grief and a deeper sense of dread. We were living in a constant state of anxiety, knowing that any one of us could be next. Every time someone died, the police would come and investigate. They'd ask questions, take notes, and examine the scene. But they never found any evidence of foul play. The post-mortem examinations always came back with the same verdict: natural causes, heart failure, stroke, pulmonary embolism. They simply couldn't explain the white foam. They didn't believe in Tokoloshes. They didn't believe in witchcraft. They just saw a series of unfortunate, albeit unusual, deaths. They treated us with a mixture of pity and skepticism, as if we were just a bunch of superstitious old fools. But we knew better. We had seen the fear in the eyes of the dying. We had heard the choking sounds in the night. We had felt the cold presence of the Tokoloshe lurking in the shadows. The most recent death, the one that finally pushed me to speak out, was that of my brother, Lawrence. He was 70 years old and still remarkably healthy and active. He loved to garden, to tell stories, to spend time with his grandchildren. He was the glue that held our family together. Just last week, he went to bed feeling perfectly fine. Julia, his sister, heard a faint choking sound coming from his room in the middle of the night. She dismissed it at first, thinking it was just a cough, but when she went to check on him in the morning, she found him lying in bed, cold and still. The white foam was there, just like with all the others. That's when I realized I couldn't stay silent any longer. I couldn't just sit back and wait for my turn to die. There are only 6 of us left now. 6 out of 16. 10 members of our family, gone, claimed by this evil Tokoloshe. We consulted a powerful Sangomar, a traditional healer with a reputation for dealing with dark forces. She performed a divination ritual and told us something that chilled us to the bone. She said that 4 of the remaining women in our family were marked for death. 4 of us would be next, she said, taken one by one, in the same horrifying manner. I am a woman. Julia is a woman. My cousin Constance is a woman. And my niece Thandi is also a woman. Which one of us will it be? Which one of us will be the next to die in our sleep, choking on that strange, unnatural white foam? Constance is particularly terrified. She's convinced that she's the next target. She says she can feel the Tokoloshe watching her, even in broad daylight. She sees fleeting shadows in the corners of her eyes, hears faint scratching sounds at the door in the middle of the night. She barely sleeps, afraid that if she closes her eyes, the Tokoloshe will come for her. We've tried everything we can think of to protect ourselves. We've prayed to God for deliverance. We've fasted and meditated. We've consulted countless healers and spiritual advisors. We've erected physical and spiritual barriers around our homes. But nothing seems to work. The Tokoloshe is always there, lurking just beyond our perception, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. The worst part of all this is the feeling of utter helplessness, knowing that there's something evil out there, something you can't see, something you can't fight with conventional weapons or methods, and knowing that it's slowly, methodically destroying your family. I'm an old woman. I've lived a long and full life, but I don't want to die like this. I don't want to die in fear, consumed by dread. I want to die peacefully, surrounded by my loved ones, knowing that I've done everything I can to protect them. I don't want to die choking in my sleep with that ghastly white foam coming from my mouth. That's why I'm sharing our story with you. We're desperate for help. We're begging for someone to believe us, to take our plight seriously. We're pleading for someone to come forward with any information, any knowledge, any skill that could help us stop this Tokoloshe before it claims the rest of our family. The police won't help us. The doctors can't help us. The traditional healers have done all they can. Maybe, just maybe, someone out there, someone who understands the dark forces at play, can offer us a glimmer of hope. We're living in a waking nightmare, a nightmare that never seems to end. And I honestly don't know how much longer we can endure it. Every creak of the house, every rustle of leaves in the yard, every shadow that flickers across the wall. It all feels like the Tokoloshe is getting closer, tightening its grip on our lives. I pray every night that it will leave us alone, that it will find some other family to torment. But I know deep down that it won't. It's fixated on us. It wants to wipe us out, to erase us from existence, And it's succeeding. Please, if you have any knowledge, any expertise, any compassion, help us before it's too late, before the Tokoloshe claims its next victim, before our family is completely destroyed. We're running out of time.